This GOP rising star Mia Love, anchor baby, question mark. The Salt Lake Tribune this morning had the story, Love's story of immigrant parents called into question. We've had stories this morning here on KSL as well, and I thought, well, we know the mayor. Let's give her a call and see what's up. Mayor, welcome to the program. Good to have you here.
Hi, Doug. How are you?
Good, thank you. I so appreciate your willingness to join us today. First of all, just your reaction to some of the hoopla. We'll go through some of the individual things here, but just overall, your reaction to the Mother Jones story.
I think it is so sad. It is so sad that Jim Matheson and his friends would actually go as far as attacking my family, attacking the American dream. If this is just like, if you think about Barack Obama, if you're not good on the issues, attack your parents. Let's be very clear. My parents came here with $10 in their pockets, understanding the importance of the American dream. They never took a handout from government. They made sure that I wasn't going to be a burden to society and that I was going to give back. And this is exactly what I'm doing. If you think about Jim Matheson, Barack Obama, all of the people that are going in, that are fighting, that are attacking my parents, their option is to give more, take more from the government, give more to the government, go out and create more dependency, more spending, bigger government, less people. I seriously think that they need to answer for some of this. They need to answer to the American people. Jim Matheson just featured his mother on a commercial, and then less than a week, he's attacking my parents and the American dream. It's certainly not the America I know, and it's certainly not the Utah I know, and I'm telling you, Utah won't stand for it.
Mayor, where is the connection? Can it be documented by you or your campaign that Jim Matheson is behind this? That's the clear implication of what you just said.
What I'm saying is that Jim Matheson and his friends, if I weren't running against Jim Matheson, none of this would be an issue. The fact is, we're taking away, we're not even paying attention to the issues right now. We're taking away, he's not talking about the issues that we face in Washington. We're taking away from this. He's attacked my city and my record. I've been attacked on Wikipedia. And again, now my parents are being attacked. And the reality is, if I weren't running against Jim Matheson, none of these things would have come into question. We're just trying to distort and distract from the real issues, which is the $16 trillion of debt, which is the fact that people are out of work and they can't pay their bills. They're underwater in their mortgages. They're worried about the education of their children and their businesses. These are the things that are important to Americans, and now we've turned this race into attacking the American dream. I mean, so many people have come to this country seeking a life, an opportunity, and my parents were one of them, and now we're attacking that? Is that who we are?
Well, is it so much an attack, Mayor, as it is a question about the actual details of the story itself? They reference a story in the Deseret News that talked about your parents coming to New York in the 1970s, fleeing poverty, looking for a better life. And then it's referenced that you said your parents immigrated legally, but were forced to leave 2 young children behind in Haiti because their visas didn't allow them to bring the children. There was a deadline.
I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know why they left. They left my brother and sister there. I think it was because they wanted to just establish a life. But here's the bottom line: they came here with legal visas, and that they applied for citizenship and became legal citizens. That is the pathway that they had at that time. They're legal citizens. And I was born in New York, raised in Connecticut, and if we want to talk about immigration issues, then we can talk about immigration issues. But we certainly don't want to go in and start attacking the American dream, which is exactly what that is. I mean, no one's sitting there talking about Jim Matheson's ancestry and how his parents actually came here. No one's talking, at one point, every single parent's ancestry, or every single person came here to this country and settled into this country. And so now we're talking about my family when we should be talking about the issues.
Well, and I think most people, Mayor, agree with that the issues ultimately it will be your qualifications, ultimately it will be your beliefs, and it will be the differences and the styles between you and Jim Matheson that ultimately will catapult one of you into Congress. But I think there is some interest in the story that has been told, especially when there is this quote, again, that goes back to this Deseret News article that references your birth on December 6th of 1975. With 25 days to spare, you were born in a Brooklyn hospital. In no time, older brother and sister were sent for in Haiti. The family was reunited. This all in that Deseret News story. And there's this quote in that article attributed to you that says, quote, "My parents have always told me I was a miracle and our family's ticket to America." You know, this is such a great story. I'm not so sure it's an attack on you or your lineage or your parents as it is, gosh, this is such a great story. We hope it's true.
Well, it absolutely is, and I can't tell you how many. I tell every single one of my children that they're miracles and they're absolutely special to me. And so I think that's, when you think about that, I think any parent would think that their child is a special and is a miracle to them.
But especially when that child is such a miracle that it becomes the ticket for two siblings. I can't imagine how gut-wrenching that would be, to be separated from your kids and to be trying to forge a new life and to be dealing with the pregnancy, to have the birth of a beautiful brand new daughter, and that is the ticket for the other two kids to come to America. That is a very unique story.
It is. And you know what? It's, I'm sure I'm not the only one that has had that story. You have to understand, my parents, left a country that was absolutely riddled with dictator after dictator, where government was so incredibly big that they had no freedom, had no choice. And so when they came to the U.S., they took a legal path to the U.S., and my dad, he learned the English language. He learned about American history. As a matter of fact, he'd say that he knew more about American history than most Americans at the time. And when he pledged his allegiance to the American flag, he knew exactly what he was saying, and he meant every word of it. Now, you have to remember, Doug, I talked about this during convention. I said that President Obama's vision of America is a divisive one, often pinning us up against each other based on income level, gender, and social status. And again, here we go again. This is exactly what I was talking about. Many people have come to this country, and they came in, on legal visas. They applied for their citizenship and became legal citizens of the United States. And that's exactly what my parents have done. And, that's why I'm such an advocate for legal immigration and making sure that we are allowing people to come here legally and earn the right to become U.S. citizens if that's what they choose.
But again,
the subject hits home for me.
But I think, Mayor, and everything you've said, I think we all agree with. All of us want people to come to this country legally. All of us, believe in the American dream. And I so greatly admire those who do. And I absolutely believe, and we see this over and over. The statistics tell us that those who come to this country yearn for freedom, study to become citizens of the United States, quite often know more about our history and can answer more questions about our history than can the average born in America citizen. But again, back to the issue at hand, Mother Jones seems to be asking, because this is such a fascinating story, and it is so gut-wrenching to think of two siblings being left behind, and for when you were born, for that to open the gateway for these two kids to come to America. But they have asked immigration attorneys about this, and they said there's just no legal foundation for it.
So how did they become legal citizens if there was no foundation for it?
Well, they're talking about being the tickets to your siblings coming to America, that there was nothing at the time that would have precluded that.
I don't think what I'm saying is I'm not sure that my siblings coming to the United States, had anything to do with them coming here and establishing a life. I think it's when they establish a life. But again, Doug, we're talking about my family, and what we should be talking about is I want to talk about the spending in D.C. I want to talk about the economy and jobs. I want to talk about what's crippling this country. I want to talk about, that's why I ran. That's why I ran for office. And, this is what's killing the American dream for all Americans, not just myself, but all Americans.
There's no doubt, as I think both of us agree, that is what the discussion ultimately ought to be. But again, when such a beautiful story and such a gut-wrenching story is told, it's documented in print, it has been alluded to in speeches before the entire country and the entire world, I think people want to get into it. They want to buy into it. And when someone questions its credibility, and when the term is actually used that basically, speaking as you, my birth was a miracle and our family's ticket to America, some people are weighing that against some of the stands for legal immigration, some of the immigration laws. And nobody's questioning that your parents came to this country legally, but when we're talking about some issues of the term, and I hate this term to tell you the truth. When anybody uses it, it's like, nails on the chalkboard for me, but anchor babies and so on. It sounds almost as if by the story that Mother Jones is questioning some of the facts of that you indeed somehow your birth on this soil legitimized or facilitated.
This is why they're talking about this, Doug. They're talking about this because I posed a threat to Obama, Jim Matheson, and their liberal agenda.
But with all due respect, Mayor, you're not answering my question.
I am. Here's the thing. Have we even talked about, have we asked Jim about his ancestry?
We will. We've put in a phone call.
We asked Jim where he stands on Obamacare, where he stands on the stimulus, where
Mayor,
he stands on card check,
Mayor,
where he stands on all of these things.
Mayor.
I mean, it's absolutely insane.
Mayor, we have a phone call into Jim right now, and I will ask him about his legacy. I will ask him about his parentage. I will ask him about the legitimacy of his ancestors coming to this country. But the question is begged here, did your birth in the United States of America to your wonderful immigrant parents who fled Haiti, we're all loving this story, did it or did it not facilitate your brothers and sisters coming here? And if it did, then is that not some of the issue that many conservative Republicans are talking about that is troublesome to them, that people come to this country, they have a baby, so they can somehow facilitate the legal immigration or the anchor for their family in this country?
Here is what I'm telling you. I've answered the question. My parents came here with a legal visa. I was born. They applied for citizenship legally. They became U.S. citizens. They established a life here, and my sister was able to come. This is the American dream. And again, this is very sad to me. It is actually sad to me that we would allow politics of personal destruction to come in to play so that other people can hold their jobs and win. Utah deserves better than Chicago style of politics.
Well, Mayor, I hope you're not including me in that, because
no.
I am.
You're giving me an opportunity to talk about issues that are important. You're giving me an opportunity to talk about the American dream and how people are able to come over. And again, I wanted to let you know, and I state very clearly, my parents have always obeyed the law. They've earned the right to be U.S. citizens. They went through legal processes to be U.S. citizens. They achieved the American dream, which is exactly how many, many people who came to this country to do. And again, Doug, I want to thank you because you're again giving me the opportunity to do this. And I hope you know how personal and emotional this is to me, that somebody can go in and attack my family.
Well, and I just wonder if, Mia, are they really attacking the family, or are they just asking whether or not the story is exactly as was represented? And
yes, I'm telling you, I've been completely truthful about my story, and it is absolutely true. Everything I've told you, this is again, it's just to detract from the real issues that we face. It's certainly it's out of bounds. I think it's out of bounds. I think it's something my parents worked really hard for everything that they have. They scrubbed toilets. I talked about my mom working as a housekeeper. I didn't grow up being the child of a governor. I didn't grow up being a child that was surrounded by politics. I grew up being a child that was surrounded by self-reliance, hard work, and the American dream.
And I think there's so much that is admirable about that. And I think that that's why your story has so resonated with people. And there is so much that is admirable. Let me just ask you this. In upcoming speeches that you give, and there will be many between now and November, will you reiterate the story exactly as was told to the Deseret News and as was was implied on the national stage? Will you use?
I will always, if you think about everything that I've said, my story has never changed. I will always talk about my parents coming here and achieving the American dream, how they never took a handout, and how they were not burdens to society, and how I'm a product of legal immigration, and how I am a person who is going to give back and talk about the real issues that Utahs really are concerned about, which is fiscal discipline, limited government, personal responsibility.
But will the line be used, Mayor, in upcoming speeches, quote, "My parents have always told me I was a miracle, and I have no doubt of that. Every child is a miracle," as you pointed out.
Absolutely.
But then the inclusion of, "and our family's ticket to America," implying that that's why your siblings were able to join. Will you state that exactly that same way in upcoming speeches?
No, again, I don't. I think that was probably taken out of context. I don't really know if that was the reason why they left my brother and my sister. I think it was just that they wanted to establish a life here and establish and make sure that they were settled before. And this is not something that's just myself. I mean, if you think about it, there are many people that have done the same thing, where until their families were established, that they came. Until then they were able to bring their families over. I mean, this is a story that's been told for a while. This is part of our American heritage. Our story, again, has been told for over 200 years, and there are many more of mine.
Mayor, more than anything, I certainly appreciate your willingness to join us today. I appreciate your willingness and Jim Matheson's willingness. A week from today, I believe, if I've got my calendar straight, that we'll be debating the very issues that you have talked about.
I certainly hope so. And again, I'm asking everybody to to talk about the issues. Stop the personal attacks. Stop the Wikipedia attacks. I mean, I even have my manager who's just he's concerned about some of the attacks that have been coming in and different things like that. We've got to make sure that we're talking about the issues and stop attacking people personally. Talk about the issues that we really face. Talk about Obamacare. Talk about the stimulus. Talk about the card check. Talk about who we're supporting for president and the different directions that these presidents have.
Mayor, I certainly appreciate your willingness to take our call and join us today, and I'll look forward to seeing you here in studio next week for our debate 1 week from today.
I'm excited about it, Doug. Thank you so much.
Mayor, thank you so much. Mayor Mia Love with us, candidate for the 4th District Congressional seat, the brand new seat here in the state of Utah. Let's take a break. KSL News time is 10:26.
This so sick of being hot this summer.
Me too. Let's head to Logan. It's a few degrees cooler.
In more ways than one.
Mother Nature's show and tell is in fine form. It's a little earlier than usual this year, so the leaves are already turning and spectacular colors are beginning to appear.
And over the next few weeks, they'll cover the canyons.
Let's go for the weekend. It's only 90 minutes from Salt Lake, and there's plenty of fall fun all season long.
Explore the great outdoors. Get lost in one of 3 giant corn mazes. Step back in time at the American West Heritage Center's annual Fall Harvest Festival.
There's the Beaver Mountain Music Festival.